something I think we take for granted. Possibly not something we think about very often. Maybe not really realizing it is part of us, but it is. Hope is important to us, and we need it just about as much as we need water. And probably more than we need food. In fact, you might even live longer without food than you would without hope. It is fundamental to us to have hope. If we have no hope, what is left for us? We would aimlessly wander on earth. How terrible it would be, the emptiness inside, without hope. In children of men, hope in the world has been lost. The loss of fertility in the world has meant that there will be no humans on earth in less than 100 years. Without a future, there is no reason to have hope. Think about what gives us hope in our lives today. The sun in the sky, the knowing there will be others coming after you, friends, faith. What if nearly all these things were taken away from you? What would there be to look forward to every day? We need that feeling to get up in the morning, to make us go to work or school. I mean, would we still go to school if we knew that we would never have any use for the qualification we received? One image that I found quite shocking was the school, deserted and a complete wreck. It was such an unknown thought that there was no one in the whole world that went to school, that there was no longer any use for such a building. Like the school, things in the world in general had gone to absolute ruin. Well, this is what was indicated in the film. Britain has been portrayed as the country that has soldiered on. If Britain is the one that has managed to keep going, I would hate to see the state of the other countries. People have given up hope, so they have no desire to preserve their world. They pump masses of gases and smoke into the atmosphere, which is polluting the world. The colour of the whole area the film is set in is a dull grey. Very little colour, very little sunlight, very much like the mental state of the people living there. No hope, no colour, quite emotionally detached because they have faced so much pain and seen so much that they almost become immune to the atrocities taking place. Death is seen as more of a way out than a terrible fate. Suicide packs are even given out in the rations. Schindler's List is also set in a very difficult time during World War II, in the Holocaust. Hitler was exterminating Jews and other unwanted people, which included people with disabilities and the elderly, in order to get his pure, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan race. During this time, it would be so easy to lose hope, because death was a high probability if you fell into one of those categories, especially if you were Jewish. The group of Jews in this movie were very determined and would not give up no matter what was thrown at them. They must have lost hope sometimes. How could you not, when your friends and family were disappearing around you and you didn't know where to? You heard stories about the death camps and the gas chambers. All you could do was hope for the best, and with this hope came strength, and I think that is what helped them to survive such a terrible time. With the help of Oskar Schindler, with whom the Jews had faith in, over 1,000 of his workers were able to survive the war. Whether this faith in him was valid or not at the beginning, I think this false faith gave them hope from the very beginning. They brought their perspectives to Oskar Schindler when they tried to bring their friends and family to work in the factory because it was seen as a haven. This angered him at first, but then he realised he had the power to make a difference and save the lives of these people, these individuals. In Children of Men, there's the idea of every man for himself. They aren't really prepared to help anyone else because they are fully concentrated on themselves. They are more likely to kill each other than they are to actually help one another, which is a very horrible thought. We see hints of that today, but just imagine a world where no one was prepared to help anyone else. We need help. We cannot do everything on our own. But without hope for ourselves, we have little ability to help to do anything for others. In Schindler's List, what helped in their survival was their dependence on one another, that they actually cared for one another. They wanted not only to save their own lives, but save the lives of others. As it says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire. Every life means something, and everyone that is saved is important. We can tend to see the death tolls as just numbers and think 20 dead is quite a small number. But they had lives just like us, families, friends, people who cared about them, and imagine the gap that would be left by them. A lot of people in Children of Men have lost this human feeling, as we can see when Theo witnesses the explosion in the coffee shop he has just been in. People are dead and mangled, but he shows no emotion to what has just happened. I think the different attitudes displayed in the two films show the effect and importance of hope in the world. There eventually is hope in Children of Men, and this change can be observed in Theo. He has always been unbelieving in things that other people laid their hopes in, like the Human Project and their faith. Anything they could place their hope in. Theo didn't really bother to put his hope in anything, and was very cynical about what other people did. When he met his ex-wife Julian, again, he had a big burden put on him. His task was to transport Key to the Human Project. He didn't even believe in the Human Project. But gradually, with the hope of the first baby in over 18 years, in a seemingly completely infertile world, he could even begin to have hope in the Human Project and have faith that it existed. Theo finally had something to live for, that he wanted to complete, a motivation. He finally had begun to hope. And although he died, well, we suppose he did, he died for a purpose when his mission was completed. So he died in relative peace and had a hope for the world, which was far better than what he would have had, even if he had continued to live in the hopeless life he had before. Hope is so much more than just a feeling. Without it, what are we really? A human with very little inside, despairing and unfulfilled. This is not what we want to be. As we can see in Schindler's List, hope had a lot to do with the Jews' survival. With Children of Men, though Theo didn't survive, he managed to do something good with his life. He had a purpose and had actually helped in the possible repopulation of the world, a hope for everyone.